Howdy, y'all. I'm Dr. Jeff Jarvis, and I have a PIM to go over a couple of things that are changing in the system. To give you the bluff, the bottom line up front, the Siri summary, the AI notification here, we have reorganized the protocols, so be sure to update your app and don't be surprised if things are in new locations. Number 2, we've substituted dexamethasone for solumedrol. And finally, number 3, there's a droperidol shortage, and we're just going to have to make do. Now, since the protocol changes are going to impact everyone, let's cover them first. Then, if you're a basic, you can just stop watching. Although you might want to stick around because you never know when my daughter's cat is going to make an appearance. No promises, though. She doesn't really listen very well to me. Because she's a cat. Cats don't listen. All right, protocol reorg. Our goal here was to simplify things and eliminate duplication. We had duplicate protocols for adults and kids, despite 99.9% of the content being the same. So now we just have a single disease-oriented protocol, and we include both adult and pediatric dosing where appropriate. Now, in some cases, like cardiac arrest and respiratory, where we're using different drugs or different orders of things, there are still enough significant differences in those protocols that we'll continue to split those up. So there will now be an adult cardiac arrest and a peds cardiac arrest, but they'll be right next to each other. Because of this, there won't be any more adult and pediatric sections, which means the entire length of the protocols is going to be cut roughly in half. Now, speaking of sections, we've reorganized them, and I want to let you know what they are because when you open the app up, you're going to look in different places. So start off, we have the cover matter, and that's where all the blah, blah, blah stuff that we have to put in, that's where it lives. Now, second section is general, and this is where we put the combo protocols that cover things that used to be repeated across a wide variety of different protocols. Things like start an IV. Well, that's under circulatory support. Or treat pain. Well, that's under acute pain management. Or Zofran, nausea, vomiting management. Crashing patients, airway management, respiratory management, that's in here along with things like telemedicine and the disposition stuff. So lift assist and AMA, refusal without capacity, all of those goodies. Next up is cardiac. Now, this is pretty self-explanatory. This is where the ACS and arrhythmias and cardiac arrest goes, plus, of course, the post-ROS care. Next up is medical, and that's basically where we put things that don't fit anywhere else. Things like abdominal pain or headaches or psych behavioral, altered mental status, seizures, and stroke. Environmental section, that's where the hot, the cold stuff, and the bitey, singy stuff goes. Then we have trauma. The usual suspects live here, plus traumatic arrest. We wanted to separate out cardiac arrest and traumatic arrest because it really helps emphasize that traumatic circulatory arrest is an entirely different beast than cardiac arrest, and we treat it differently. Next up, we have OB-GYN, and this is where deliveries. Let's go with deliveries. Deliveries, both normal and abnormal, those protocols are in here, along with OB bleeding, newborn care, and eclampsia care. Then the following sections live: the procedures, the critical care paramedic protocols, the MIH protocols, the pharmacopoeia, the great big drug reference, and our various equipment list. Now, as a reminder, you got to refresh your protocol app to get the refreshed protocols. Please, please, please don't be that guy or gal who is using out-of-date medicine because you didn't update your app. That's just bad, and honestly, it's kind of embarrassing. And did I mention bad? Let's not do that. Update the app. All right, that's point number 1. Point number 2 is steroid change. We were carrying both methylprednisolone. There's a reason we call that drug solumedrol.
That's all, folks.
We were carrying solumedrol and dexamethasone or Decadron. Now, when you really get down to it, a steroid's pretty much a steroid. They all work the same way. So to simplify things and decrease the expense of carrying duplicate drugs and taking up more room in our drug box, we just moved everything over to Dex anytime we needed to use a steroid. Primary places here are the respiratory protocol and the circulatory support for our patients with adrenal insufficiency or Addison's disease. Now, finally, this is painful for me to say. The dark times, my friends, they are among us. I just thought that life really sucked when we couldn't get ketamine. Well, sadly, the drug supply gods just looked down on me and they said, hold my beer, we're really going to jack with him. That's right, y'all. We can't get Droperidol. Now, as much as I think that's a national emergency and we should divert all funding from, say, national defense to getting more Droperidol, not everybody agrees with me. So until we can get this national crisis sorted, I sent out a medical directive on Droperidol, and it does two things. Number one, it tries to triage our use of the good stuff to those patients who most need it, and those are the agitated ones. That means, unfortunately, until we get the shortage resolved, I don't want you using Droperidol at all for the nauseas, the vomitings, or the headache, unfortunately. We're going to have to just make do with oral meds or Zofran. So, sorry, but we didn't cause this shortage. Now, for agitation, we're going to keep on using Droperidol as long as we have it. As soon as we run out, we're going to replace it with its little cousin, haloperidol or Haldol. Now, the dosing is going to be the same for agitation, and the indications are going to be the same. So the transition really should be pretty easy. It just sucks, and it sucks because Droperidol is just better than haloperidol. Sorry, cousins, one of you is just not like the other. But it only works better if we have it, and we're not going to have it. So please join me in giving some burnt offerings to the supply gods here and beg forgiveness for insulting them during our times of ketamine famine. Hopefully that will appease them and we'll get our drugs back. So that's it for this PRM, or PIM, I should say. To summarize, number one, refresh your damn app. Don't be that person. Stuff is in a different place. Number two, dexamethasone is now our only steroid. If you keep spending all your time looking for the Solumedrol, you're not going to find it. It's pronounced Dex now. And then finally, we can't get no Droperidol, and the official period of mourning has begun. Well, guys, that is it. Thank you for watching. I hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving holiday, and y'all probably have an idea of what I'm hoping for on November 30th. Take care, y'all. Oh, and by the way, Giga Maggies.